But you know, a secret for many people, what I'm about to share with you is the absolute best way to retire. Now, it's not easy, and there's a lot of folks that won't be able to do it, but it's worth trying. So let's jump in and let's talk about it. I'm going to share what it is, and then as a financial advisor, I've seen dozens of people successfully do this, and I'll share with you what they were able to do to make that happen. So first off, what is this secret way to retire? The secret way to retire is to not retire fully. To think about an airplane coming into an airport, coming into land, and they're coming in slowly. And that destination, that touchdown, is full retirement. And you know, when the flight attendant says, okay, it's time to prepare for landing, that's when you're at full work. And the idea is we glide slope down slowly into full retirement. And that can be a super powerful way to retire. And here's why. One, you're continuing to make money, so it's not as scary as walking away from what I call the river of money. The river coming every 2 weeks, twice a month, this paycheck's coming, and there's this river of paychecks. When you're 20, you have a lot of them in front of you, and it's just flowing throughout life. And then as we get older, we have fewer of these coming, but we can still count on them. And it gives us permission to spend money. We don't have to go through that mindset shift yet. And it just makes it easier to enjoy that. So we take some of the pressure off financially. We have time to adapt to this. Okay, you're likely going to make less money if you're working less. Not always. I've seen where people have not had to take a pay cut, which is the sweetest of all. But it gives you time on the financial side, and it also gives you a period of time to adjust to the 168 hours a week. Think about it when you're working. We're at work 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. We commute back and forth to work. We got to get ready. We got to shower, things like that. It doesn't give us much time, at least during the week, that we need to fill, right? For many of us, when we get home, we make dinner, we spend a little bit of time with the family, and then it's time to kind of relax and recuperate. So this idea of the best way to retire is to not retire. Folks know that I'm a fan of retiring sooner rather than later, but if we can glide slope in, that can be helpful from the money side that we've talked about, from the time side that we've talked about, and also from the passion side, because it's not just about finding a new purpose in retirement, which is super important. Now, just because we're glide sloping in doesn't mean that we shouldn't be looking for what is our purpose outside of work. What are our passions outside of work? And that's really the secret sauce. This is the powerful aspect of it, is to be able to try out different things, to have the freedom and the time years before, or at least months before you retire, to try out different things. That might be your next purpose. That might be your next passion. And that's an enormous gift. As I said, it's hard to be able to do that. Some positions are easier than others. For people that are, for instance, ER doctors, I've seen ER doctors be able to do it. I've seen anesthesiologists do it. Any physician that's working on a shift basis. I've seen attorneys be able to do it. It kind of depends on the type of legal work that you do. In some cases, they either want you running 100 miles an hour, or they want you on the sidelines off of the team. But I have seen it work. I've seen it work for knowledge workers. I've seen it work for managers that are in a factory setting. I've seen it work for technical workers, people that are either in a manufacturing facility and it's their job to look at the data and to help, what does all this data mean, visualizing it and coming up with management insights from it. I've seen it work in a large scope of things. I've also seen it work for a shorter period of time. And by a short period of time, I mean, maybe 12 months, at most 18 months, right? We all think when we quit working, our company's going to miss us. And they will. And there's a transition for them. And it's valuable for the company to oftentimes to have a 3-month transition. A 12-month transition, an 18-month transition. The truth is, at some point, we kind of get in the way, as harsh as that sounds. Yes, we have all this wisdom. Yes, we have all this experience. Yes, we have all this, what I call institutional knowledge. But the new person is going to learn a lot by having to make those decisions on their own. So while I have seen those transition work, they tend to be closer to 3 to 6 months. And then it's kind of like friends coming to visit from out of town. There's that saying about, it's like fish, right? It expires quickly. And unfortunately, our usefulness, our influence in a company, unfortunately, fades pretty quickly. So being able to glide slope in helps us with the money aspect of it, gives us time to figure out our passion and our purpose. Now, how have people negotiated this? Again, I've seen dozens of people successfully do it. And really, where I've seen people succeed is when they put on the hat, how can I give my company, how can I give my boss what they need? Let's start there. While also, being candid, we need to start throttling back. And I'd like to still stay involved. I'm not ready to retire yet. How can we do that? And in any negotiation, if you can give the other person what they need, it's much more likely that you'll be able to get what you need. Now, you do have to be prepared. I have seen people, once they tell their supervisor, hey, I need to throttle back, sometimes the answer is no. Right? And if the answer is no, now you've kind of played your card. So one thing to think about that protects you from that is having a fallback and say, what about if I took a 1-month leave of absence to recharge my batteries? Now you get a second bite at that apple, right? You can come back and say, okay, I took a month off. I took 2 months off. I've recharged my batteries and I'm ready for this next chapter. And you can get everybody more comfortable that you're not necessarily, it's not necessarily time to kick you off the team, because you don't want to get kicked off the team until you want to get kicked off the team. I hope that makes sense. And this whole idea of when do you have this conversation? How do you have this conversation? When is the right time for you to retire? That's why I made this video here, to help you think about when's the right time for you to retire and to not unnecessarily give up the youth of your senior years. This video is why waiting to 65 to retire might be a big mistake. I'll see you in there. Bye-bye.